Full Disclosure is an exhibition composed of collaborative projects and exchanges between arts and science faculty from the school. The statement on the invitation was a collaboration between my collaborator and Shelby Graham, the curator of the Susana Gallery, and her students in the museum practices class. Here's a picture of Scott with his lab. In his diverse role as a curator, facilitator, Scott interpreted artist proposals and then introduced artists to scientists. Conversations led to collaborations or reciprocal exchanges. Participants in the exhibition were asked to show something about their work and offer a glimpse into their process. Scott and I didn't want to restrict outcomes by setting parameters or forcing a premise that suggests projects will blur the lines or explore the divide between the two cultures. Because we've observed that both enterprises merge empirical and creative activity and analysis. E.G. Crichton collaborated with Scott Loki. She documented conversations with scientists and artists about process and failure. E.G. created a living archive of voices, notes, and refuse gathered in the process of working with Scott's chemistry group, arts faculty, and Danvers students. And visitors can contribute to the archive. Frank Galuska began meeting with mathematician and chaos theorist Ralph Abraham in 2004 to discuss cybernetics, Kepler, and snowflakes as a consequence of resonant fields. Their ongoing conversations continue to this day. In fact, they usually meet on Fridays in the sonic heavens. This drawing was created by biochemist David Deemer when he envisioned the structure of a nanotool that can speed read DNA through its center. He drew it while he was on a road trip, and he stopped the car and drew the nanopore while he was heading north in California. Elliot Anderson wanted to examine chemical traces in plants that grow in former industrial sites to learn how land is used and reclaimed through natural processes. He worked with toxicologists, Russ Flegel, and researchers on their study of mercury in the bay. With water drawn from mining sites, Elliot planted a hydroponic landscape in the gallery to represent a 21st century relationship to the land. And to the right, you'll see Norman Locke's photo installation. Norman collaborated with Brian Peterson from Environmental Studies, whose dissertation considers the effects of global warming on forests. This research has led them to investigate the social and environmental issues that contribute to the complexity of land use and confused boundaries between private and public land. Sorry I have to read, I have to cover a lot of material. These are microscopy prints by Dustin Updike from Suzanne Strum Lab, and these are microscopy prints of a model organism, C. elegans. And these are my paintings, which you'll see at the gallery, and I'd be happy to discuss these with you, but I'm really running out of time, so I'm going to get to the position part of this, which is the fun part for me. It is Scott's and my intent that trial and error, mistakes and failure in the context of this show be viewed as a generative property, a catalyst for further inquiry, not a final summation. Now, Full Disclosure is the second iteration of a proposal I wrote in the winter of 2008. I asked Scott and Dave if they'd be willing to take a show about science and art on the road to the Bible Belt. What willing co-conspirators they were. I proposed that we do a show in my hometown, a Rust Belt city in Ohio. In Mansfield, the hope and certitude offered by evangelical faith is seductive for many. I've watched with alarm as the Christian right have gained a strong foothold. In 2002, the State Board of Education attempted to insert intelligent design into curriculum. As I wrote in my letter to Scott and Dave, I want to do a show that implicitly and explicitly confronts the benighted position of creationists. I wanted the show to valorize all that is opposite of evangelical certitude with questions, experimentation, and work that's about failure and doubt. My position is both political and personal. This is my sister's colleague in the sciences at Mount Vernon Senior High, not a school not far from Mansfield. An outspoken creationist, John Freshwater, there in the blue t-shirt, has undermined science education for years until the day he took it a little too far. He used a science instrument to burn a cross on a student's arm. It was a good deed when you think about it. That gesture did a lot to bring national attention to the pedagogical struggles in Ohio that had been going on for a very, very long time. The Republicans' war on science is not over, as we know, because we have a new and enlightened administration. The extreme right and the creationists are now regrouping. We may think the power is on our side, but the cynics on the right and the creationists assume they have powerful figures on their side too. So anyway, staging a show like Full Disclosure in liberal Santa Cruz is truly gratifying, but to send provocative exhibitions about science, art, and failure into the Bible Belt could achieve something important. Because the challenge of political statements is getting the message to individuals who may not share the same point of view. Future exhibitions of science and art staged in the Rust Belt, Bible Belt can be a message from our choir to its adversaries and potential new members. Thank you.